Okay, so what I want to do here is look at this Jason Greystone, who he keeps commenting on my videos, but then he deletes his comments. So I had to copy his. Um, I quoted him, and then I answered his quote. He asked me, "Where's the sense in spending your time bashing other traders?" Now, I think one man's, and I said, well, one man's bash is another man's critique. And then he ripped down the comment that spurred this thing. And I said, well, why didn't you get out? It was about a guy that wanted to get out of a trade that was in a winning position. And so Akil Stokes says, well, you would have lost, you would have given up 70 pips, which is not true. He would have given up 30 pips because the final target was finally kind of met. And it looks like maybe wasn't even met, kind of very close within 1 pip. And of course, that's the bid only, so I don't know if the guy got out or not. And the thing is he says, and I said, well, there's 20 more hours of exposure when you sit in these trades. So if you just got out, you could go trade something else. You could just go to sleep. You don't have to mentally manage the trade. And I guess if it doesn't matter, right, you just don't care about anything because you just don't have that fear or anything. And so he's, ever since my first video criticizing these empowered trading people, this clan, that he says, he calls me Mr. Hindsight. And so I gave him 2 links to my weekly updates where like 90% right in what's gonna happen, and just a classic, like it's really very these markets are pretty simple. And so he's saying, well, so my answer to him is, this whole backtesting thing. And he says, well, you have to back test and have a positive expectancy, and all this it's like great expectations. And remember that Shakespeare thing? And this is the kind of the problem. And this is certainly, obviously this guy's well padded. He's trading, and he's got I don't know if they're paying him from this, the passion for trading, this power thing. I don't know what, doesn't anybody ask themselves, can I do better? Like, I don't know if anybody plays guitar, but every time I pick up the guitar, I'm thinking, can I do something different? We always go to our go-to chops, right? Now, if you're trading moving average system, you're like, yeah, I know I can make money when this thing aligns, and I know what the rules are for always making money on this moving average thing. But don't you kind of feel bad when you go and you watch some guitarist and you say, God, I wish I could do that scale he does. It looks so, it's so out of the nature of what you would normally play, your comfort zone. So the whole reason I'm criticizing this thing is to rattle people's cages. You have to take you out of your comfort zone, because if you get too comfortable, you're really not going to grow. You're not going to. So I'm questioning this conventional wisdom or this textbook trading, this kind of goofball stuff. In this video here, he admits in the beginning he lost 80 pips on the yen trade, dollar yen or something. And then he goes and brags about that he made 23 pips and all these other 17 pips. We made 18 pips. I'm like, great, we could sit here and I could pull a trigger blindly and make pips. His analysis, he has to put in these, here he's just got these zones and stuff. He really doesn't say anything. I don't know why he's keeping all this stuff on the screen and whatever, right? You go into people's bathrooms, you wonder why all the drugs are in the cabinet. But, it's just, it's funny that nobody wants to tell the emperor that he's really not looking good nude. And these guys, they have this. But this Jason guy, he's like this. He and apparently his wife likes my videos, so maybe, if she's hot, maybe she'll leave him, come visit me. But I don't know. It's just the weirdest thing. But so what's the sense in bashing other traders? Well, you have to bash yourself too. You have to ask yourself, what am I doing? Like, couldn't I make more money? Why did I do this trade? And if you did it because of this cipher pattern and this thing here, now this guy, he's totally, I guess he was, having a hard time trading. So when he signed up with the Power Trading, he's got this checklist and he's doing the whole thing. And okay, that's great. But there's a lot of guitarists that have a checklist. I play a major scale. I know my scales. Blah blah blah. I mean, I've played with these people that literally cannot play. They can't jam with you. They have a like when you get together with some guitarists, they say, "Well, what do you want to play?" I go, "Let's just play." They go, "What? What song do you want to play?" You cannot improv. And maybe I'm just too improv. Maybe I'm too, my imagination is pretty elaborate. So maybe if you have no imagination, yeah, you're going to stick to this thing where, okay, the moving averages, the 1 period crossed over, the 3 period, I just hit the button, go long. That's great. Now, if your stops are tight, that's going to work all day long. In fact, I could build a system. Those are some of the best systems in the world where you're just like, I think it's going up, I think it's going down. Now, this cipher thing is, I guess it's an intellectual pursuit, or it's some type of pattern pursuit. And some guy said that I don't trade patterns. Well, define the word pattern. I mean, a hammer's a pattern. Into its own world, that hammer. Now, here, this video is called How to Make Money in a Sideways Market. But he's not a sideways trader. And then he says, well, I'll let him speak for himself here. This is one of the trades near the end of the video, because I finally caught on to what his rules for getting in and out. And in this trade, is just, well, before the trade even happens, no, he's planning so far in advance. Like, I'm asking, when I'm watching these videos, I'm like, why didn't you get in here? Why didn't you get in there? And not a lot of, he doesn't really tell you, this is a place to get in. You get in because of here. You just buy here, you sell here, buy here. He's got so a big checklist. And then in the beginning, he's saying, these videos are very difficult to produce. You don't understand how difficult mine are to produce. I've actually got to turn on the recorder. And then he's got this picture of him in front of 6 screens. You know what? You can have 40 screens. It's not going to... People are trading off their phone and making money. There's people that really are just the most... They just have a crude system, and they're making money off their phone. So you don't need 6 screens. You don't need 20 monitors. You don't need all that stuff, right?
This level, this would have been the area I was eyeing up to get long, right? And as we drop down to the 6th...
And this is the problem I have with this guy, just to begin with, is that, I like to think about, what would you do right now? If I put a gun to your head, what is the trade right now? Come on, what do you do? And some people would say, well, I don't know, I have to... But no, really, if I put a gun to your head and said, if you don't trade in the next 40 seconds, I'm going to blow your head off, pick a direction. A lot of people are afraid to pick a direction because they don't want to be wrong. They don't want to lose money. Those two things, you got to get rid of those two things in your head, right? Now, if you go into... I had an idea last night that if I was going to have one of these prop house things, which I thought that was where you just buy stuff to prop stuff up, but apparently a prop house is where traders come in and they're like, okay, well, we're proprietary, right? That stands for, but everything's proprietary. I mean, too proprietary. But if you're going to do it like that, and you have people come in and they're going to trade, and you're going to give them a system, you set them in front of the desk, you go, hey, listen, you're going to give us 10% or 50% of your profits, and you're going to trade for us. Here's our system. Here, you babysit that chart, you pull the trigger. My idea was that if you were going to do that, the interview process would go something like this, where you have the person come in, and you ask them, do you have any cash? You actually tell them to bring cash to the interview, and hopefully you have people that have never traded in their life. A lot of these, if you look at the turtle traders and the movie Trading Places, you're looking for people that don't even know what's going on. They come in there, and you set them down. You say, hey, you got any money? Like, bring some cash to the interview. So they take, say, a $5 and a $10 bill out of their pocket, or some ones, and you say, okay, listen, let me just give me your money here. I'll give you back. I'll give you back your money in 15 minutes, and maybe I'll even give you more money back. And then you take and you put them on one of these Scientology e-meters, and then you take one of the bills, and you take out a lighter, and you light it on fire, and you let it burn like 20% of that $1 bill, and then you stomp it out, and then you relight it, and you take about 2 minutes to burn this bill up, this $1 bill. And meanwhile, the e-meter's on them, and you're kind of gauge their response, and that'd be an interesting way to see how people feel about that money. And another thing you could do is give them back more money than you burned, and see how they feel about that. So it's really how you feel about money. And in this video, it talks about, well, I wouldn't get in this trade because I had to put a 100 pip stop in there, but he was willing to lose 80 pips on this dollar-yen trade. Apparently, it's about pips for him, not about money. Because if you're in really small, 100 pips is like, whatever, right? And this is the concept about scaling. If he spent as much time with this stupid cipher crap, which is completely, and he redraws ciphers in here arbitrarily. It's just an arbitrary way to put these triangles on the screen. He'll draw the apex of that thing. Well, great. And all this stuff here never discusses. TV look like great entry trades here. Now he's going to go through this saying that there's no trades in this thing, and he wouldn't trade this sideways market. Although the video's about trading sideways, and he's like, I'm not a sideways trader, so.
See, this area in here, we had this nice little structure level here to get stops under. This little outside return here, and I was looking at this zone in here. That would have given me more than that would have given me more than a 1-to-1 on my risk reward. I think we also
very bizarre. His thinking is so bizarre. Transfixed on this ratio. Now, if you have these ratios pre-planned and you have single drop orders, which if you go to Script Trading, I have a Google Plus here. I'll put it in the link of this video where I posted the scripts, and I have a link to something. There's a free cloud service I found out there where you can post stuff. So I put up a buy and a sell order there. Now you can rearrange these any way you want. You can expand the time frames on these you can go from 15 minutes to a month on how long that order lasts. But trading's about execution. Trading's about placing orders. Trading's not about fantasizing. And some of these trades do work out. There's no doubt that this guy understands support and resistance. Here you get in, here you get out. But he's micromanaging like he's actually going to get out 2 trades. And I guess, I don't know if he's trading his own money here or this is like just teaching accounts. He gets out in 2 different targets, right? But he gets in one, like he gets in one price, but 2 different targets. But why would you just get in one price? Wouldn't you get in 5 prices with 5 targets? Is that asking too much? This is when you really treat trading as a business, and you get used to the fact that you have inventory, just like these banks, just like the store has inventory, and sometimes they're out of stock, sometimes they're back ordered, and you have to have like, oh well, we're not gonna do these big ticket items. The small ticket items are coming. The economy has changed its dynamics. We have to adjust to the crowd, and if you don't adjust to your customers and you don't lower your prices or come up with a different whatever's popular, even if you don't like what's going on, right? Even if you don't like the trend, if you're in business and all of a sudden people are still into something that you hate, you have to provide that to your customers, and your customers in this sense would be your just the crowd, the market moving, this crowd thing. Now this would be entries for me, and so he says, well, why are you bashing traders? Another thing to consider here is that with all what's going on here, I don't know. You know, he say, well, this is sideways. Well, it's not for the guy that's on the. This is a 60-minute chart. On the 5-minute chart guy, he's like, this is an uptrend. I just made money. This is a downtrend. I just made money, and it comes up into this previous here. So, but he's saying there's ciphers inside here. But he always has like, well, we're going to get in here. My stop's going to be here. He's over planning this stuff. This is a big support zone, obviously. So, wouldn't you have a pending here to get out here? Is it realistic that the market's going to plunge down there? Maybe if the news came out. I mean, this is just such a dialed in. This is like somebody showing you how to play guitar, but they're going to show you one song. 2 songs, possibly. So, there's so much music out there. And so saying that the ciphers and the Fibonacci, that is just such a niche of what's possible here. And God, I just see so many entries here. And just the people that, you know, he says here he doesn't trade breakouts, only because he hasn't figured, like, there's people that do want to trade breakouts. And he said there's something for everybody in this video, but you can tell that each person has their own style, and it's hard to think like this. Is why you need to bash people. You have to say, could I think like this guy? I want to be able to see his perspective and see that I couldn't do that. And some of these moves aren't big enough for him and broad enough for him. This is actually this setup he's going to show you here would have been a complete disaster, you know, because he's presupposing so much. He thinks he knows so much about what's going to go on here. Not to mention that you could have, right here I can see that entry. If you have a buy limit sitting at this, you're already long and you already scalped out for a few pips there, right? There's a trade right there. This is the feeding zone, the buy zone. Top become bottom. Buy dump, buy dump. Come on, right? Sell, dump, sell. Here's sell, sell, sell. Buy, buy, buy. It's great until it starts to collapse. But you made enough money during this. And what does it keep coming down to? It's how you get in. He doesn't talk about that. For some people, a trailing buy stop here, and then they get picked up and they're just long. Maybe they can have a buy limit down here. But he's not accommodating all the different. I guess if you're totally lost, and the cipher thing is just magical thinking, as far as I'm concerned. He keeps he redraws that cipher to fit. Just a good old fashioned support level.
We had a little harmonic move down there as well. So it was a harmonic move completing in that area. And
harmonic move complete in that area. So he's stuck on this harmonic thing now, and I know that this is possible. That if you have I have a friend that plays guitar, and he decided he was going to play a stick guitar, which is like Tony Levin plays this thing. It's you just do hammer-ons. There's felt at the nut, and you really just like playing keyboards. You're doing hammer-ons with both hands, and sure, it's great, you know. But I always, when he comes over to play, he's a shredder, and I just say, you know, I'm kind of like hoping that he's not going to bring this odd instrument that's really not in what we do. And so he's fit this thing, right? He's fit this in auction theory. If it did come down here, it wouldn't be about the cipher. It would be about the trapping of their auction markets. You got to understand market theory, which I don't think he's thought about this. This top becomes the bottom of these wicks. This is the low risk entry. Here's the stop. Here's the take profit. He's talking about 1-to-1 ratios here. The whole time this is climbing, there's places to get in on the 1 hour. We don't want to go out to. He switches time frames here. It's ridiculous. He goes to a 15. He goes to a 30. He puts in ciphers. For the love of Pete, do you think anybody that's expert or beginner is, it's just, it's ridiculous on its face. No mention of volatility. Okay? No mention of, like, this would have been a good place to sell up here. This would have been a good place to buy. Maybe he just takes it for granted that everybody just assumes that, and maybe he's going to go off on this stuff because he's like, well, we all know that. That's called making money.
And this was the area I was looking at. As you can see, we came down, tested this level of previous
Okay, buying retests. Why isn't there a course called Empowered Retest? Because it's too simple. People would get it. It'd be over. Okay, my free lesson. The lesson of the day. Buy retests. If you see a valley, buy the valley. It's coming again.
resistance, found support again, and now we've tested the highs. So that move has already been made.
That move's been made. He did not trade that, I'm assuming. Somebody did.
Okay, so when I talk about, this is a good example of when I talk about when I'm looking for that trend continuation move. Well, because
Trend continuation move. Here we go again. People. It's going up. For some people, this is a double top. For some people, this is consolidation. It's going to go up, trend continuation. We don't know. We don't know how far. We don't know the amplitude of these moves. And I don't know if there's news coming out. I don't know what's going on here, right?
because this has already been tested and this move has already been made, now all I look at is consolidation patterns in this zone. And
So now all he's going to look at is consolidation patterns in this zone. Has he not just closed his mind to other possibilities? And I think we've all made this mistake. You know, we're out with this girl. She's got some attributes. We're on a date. And it's like, you know what? Maybe this is a bonus that she's dumb. Easier to manipulate.
until we break out, does that make sense? So now,
Until we break out, and I guess this is where I'm having a problem because I just want to trade. I want to have, like, what can I do right now? Like, I don't know if you ever had your car break down on a Sunday, or just have, like, somebody send you a lawsuit on a Sunday and you're like, damn, I can't do anything about this now. I just feel that the most helpless, awful feeling is that there's no immediate remedy. You know, and if you're on the 5-minute charts and you're just looking at the market, you're like, you know what? If I really had to trade, if trading was a business and I really had to make a sale and actually make a profit, how can I do that? And I think that's the question is, how can I perform? How can I extract money from the market, regardless of, and not be such a have to have all the stars align. And if you notice, a lot of these alignments, I mean, when it falls through, are you going to blame your analysis, or are you going to blame? I mean, of course, hopefully you didn't wipe out the whole account on one cipher pattern, but that's going to be the where the rubber meets the road. They used to say this stuff, rubber meets the road. And every moment that this guy speaks, and I know he's going to think I'm bashing him, but really, it is so fascinating to see how somebody sees something and how they project their belief systems on the market, because that's really what's going on. The market just is, and then people project their ciphers on there and what they think is risky, right?
we are channeling.
We're channeling. Well, in the old days, if you were channeling, you were talking to the dead.
Now we're channeling. I'm not interested.
So he's not interested. We're channeling, he's not interested. Well, we've already channeled. According to him, it's over. So you see how the thinking goes back and forth. And I'm not saying that people don't do that, that I don't have obsessive compulsive thoughts. I'm not saying that I don't go back and forth in my head, but when I try to catch myself saying, well, if that was true, then why didn't you? And it always comes back to fear. Well, I don't know. Or effort. I don't want to, I'm not interested.
All I can trade in here is consolidation patterns.
Well, how do you trade consolidation patterns? And what does that mean? You mean range trading, I think. Consolidation patterns, what does that mean? I mean, to me, a consolidation pattern trading is that the market consolidates and you trade a break out of consolidation. The market explodes. Maybe it's bidirectional and maybe it's directional explosion, and you're out, right? Because the consolidation's over. The market just went into trend mode unless you have some... I mean, you have to make some kind of money. You should have 3 positions out of the gate. A scalp, a midterm, and a long term. But you need that scalp to pay for the commissions and the spread of the other 2 trades. And this is certainly more work, but this is just no different than when you sell somebody a car. If you own a dealership, that you call them up the next day and say, how's the car doing? Like, this is the kind of stuff. And of course the market doesn't care that you did. I'm saying this is the kind of triage, the stuff that you're taking care of things in multiple angles to ensure that you cover your action, man.
Gartley's bat ciphers.
Gartley bat ciphers. No, that is just a perplexing. That's an amazing. That just takes you down this rabbit hole of just complexity that's unnecessary in these markets.
And if we break out, then I can look for that pullback and look to get long.
Well, why wouldn't you just get long now, and when it gets to that breakout, dump the whole thing and reload? Now, for some people, if they are not disinterested, they're going to trade that. And this is the 1-hour chart, don't forget. So, but don't be silly and drop down to the 5-minute, look for a cipher, because you are just literally going to lose perspective. I mean, you just cannot go from... I don't know who could do that. That's an incredible mind shift. And you probably do need 6 monitors at that point, because you have to have that sitting there on the other monitor. And mark that off. You're watching the 60-minute, you got that. Now you cannot look at other currency pairs. I mean, there's only so much attention you have available. And if you're trading super big, you're really going to be very mindful of all of that stuff. And you're going to have maybe multiple orders you're managing. I mean, it can get very complex very quickly. You can go into recording studios, and they got 128 channel mixing consoles. And you look at this stuff, and you're like... one of my girlfriends asked me once, well, how do you know what all those knobs do? Well, really, each channel strip is just a duplicate of the next. It's just the fact that you've got this, it looks just insane, but when you realize that each knob is not, there's a format to each channel strip. So you've just cookie cut. It's like walking into a bakery and going, how do you manage all those cookies? Well, we have a cookie cutter. And we just have that. Say, if you cookie cut this thing with ciphers, so you got your cipher. But the problem is that the markets don't really like the fact that you've got these cookie cutters, because nature has so many oddities and so many just natural distortions that make it, or like this random organicness is what makes it, I guess, fun and exciting. And that's the fun of the market, is that it's well, some people say challenging because they're losing money, but like, if you look at that as your friend, the fact that it is chaotic and you can't put a you're trying to put these ciphers on, which is you're trying to cue it to the way you want it to be. And I think that I hate to go back to the if you're looking for a mate, hey mate, and you're looking for a mate, they always say that, hey mate, and that's like kind of a British or Australian, hey mate, and I'm like, are we getting married? But if you're looking for a partner in crime, in the opposite sex, hopefully, you're gonna either like when you see her, and girls do this to guys, they're like, you're gonna have to put new clothes on. If we're gonna be in a relationship, you can't go out looking like that. Let's go to shopping. We'll get you an outfit. You're embarrassing me. And this is what you're doing with these Gartleys and stuff. I don't like the way the market looks like this. Let me put a cipher on there. Look at this harmonic nonsense. Well, obviously this has already been, this has been, what do you call it, canceled. It didn't make it here. You know, and deal with the hand you're dealt. There's tops in here, there's support in here, and I'm going to go to my charting in a second here and show you that if you just turn off these damn candles that these people got conned into using, just like they're getting conned into using, it's a conspiracy, people. Cipher patterns, bat wings, butterflies, and banana blenders are complete conspiracy theory. Apply, you know, this mentality is coming into the markets.
Does that make sense? Because the retest has already happened. Hopefully that makes sense.
It makes sense. I get it. But to say something's already happened, I'm disinterested, these are not passionate, optimistic, I'm not feeling it, buddy. I'm not ready to sign up. It says for a free week. I'm almost ready to sign up just so I can, maybe I can get some more inside info and then just be more bashing. Bashalicious.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're channeling. You breakout traders are probably looking at this, waiting for that third test or something like that. If we can get a third test down here, then that would be a good opportunity to get long down at this level. I don't trade breakout patterns or anything like that, so...
It's not a breakout, is it? If you're going to get in down here, you're buying support. Are you saying that breakout patterns, like, you're going to hold through the breakout of that top? And of course, trading's personal. Everybody has what they can possibly muster, but just like in the music world, if you're able to play rap, country, I can play with anybody. You come over and you want to play bluegrass, I'm in. Now, my preference is to play really high performance jazz fusion, but you know, that's only because when I grew up, I heard stuff like Jeff Beck and Herbie Hancock, and I just said, man, that just really hits me. Of course, we're all at the mercy of when we were born and what culture we were born into, so we all have a bias. We've all been, and unfortunately, for the traders that are losing money or winning money, whatever, you know, the markets are just, they don't fit anything in society that we can... I understand people want to bring in these ciphers because they want to, like, say, oh, here's something I can count on. It's hard to count on anything.
I'll have to just wait and see if I can get presented with a trading opportunity. And as we go down to the lower time frames, we get this consolidation area, and this is where we can see this bat formation.
So this is a big problem I'm having here. Now, it is possible to switch time frames, but now you're going to throw the bat pattern in there, and it's like, holy majesus. What in the wide world of sports are you doing? When you're on the 15, trade it as the 15. I learned this a long time ago. That if I'm on the 15, I have 15-minute targets. Like, why would you want to wait any longer to get paid? If you're going to buy this top that becomes a bottom, boom, your trade's over, it comes back up into this target. You sell here, boom, come back here, trade's over. This is the trap. This is the low risk entry for sell limits here with a tight stop. Boom, your target's here. Maybe your target is all the way down here. I'm out here, right? That's plenty of time for me to be tortured. That's 2 hours of creeper gear down. I want this smash down. You know, I want this trade. Boom, I'm out. But see, on the 15, it's a completely different world. You're 4 times removed from the 1 hour. You can throw up these bat wings and wow, dude, you've got all the time in the day, and it's better that you spend time writing scripts. And my scripts are free. Thank you very much. They're free on the internet. The ones I have, amazingly, they stopped. They don't make them like they used to. I mean, there's a time code in mine for how long that script lasts, which apparently the new drop pendings, MT4 pending drop. If you look that up on the internet, there's one out there. I guess there's a way to put the time in there. I don't know how to write the actual code. And I have to I'm going to hook up with some of these coders I found throughout the world. I found 50 coders. So I'm going to try to build a robot, so to speak, that just gets in a volatility based robot, because I think that is the big secret in Forex or in all markets, is that how do you get in when the markets, and early in the video, I watched most of the video, but I haven't gotten through to the end here, so I don't know what's coming after the next 3 minutes here. But you know, he's talking about we're in no man's land. Well, there's a lot of stuff you could build robotically, and certainly with this the modern world we live in, you know, it's a very space age world, that there should be a way to have a bat bot, right, or a Gartley bot. It seems like should be able to code that. Let's hope, right?
123.78. Constellation's thrown this up here.
Wow. Now that is just. Now this is what he was trained to, and maybe he is making $1 million. He was, and that's another comment he ripped down. He's a millionaire. He makes $1 million. Makes millions of dollars. Blah blah blah. So I asked him in that one, and I don't know, they ripped down my comment too. My answer was like, well, you're making $1 million, so why y'all bent out of shape? Bent out of shape. I love that phrase. Why you're all bent out of shape about the the criticisms, right? It should just be water off a duck's back.
Bat formation. Check your ratios.
Check your ratios. My God in heaven, man. I mean, this is why you need a script. A drop script that has a 20 pip stop, a 15, an 8 pip stop, a 20, a 40, and you have it on your favorites list inside of your platform at MT4. You drag and drop these on the thing, you walk away, you're done. You're done for the day. You place all those orders every hour, every 4 hours, every 4 days. That's it. That's all trading is. You don't even have to watch these trades.
123.
On the 15 here, it's a different world, right? This is very active. You really want to trade very close to the market for very small targets.
78. If market pushes down, which will mean we can get our stops below X, which is going to be a great place to get stops. Okay. Below previous structure. Initial targets 382.
Wow.
At 124.05 and 618 at 124.22. You can see the bat, sorry, bit better here. So there's a potential Gartley on the 5 minute, a little.
And it's not even a Gartley, it's a potential Gartley. I mean, this kind of extrapolation into these fantasy patterns are just, it's incredible. I mean, you have to keep redrawing this. The market's constantly unfolding in front of you. And you got the fibs on there. I mean, I'm tired. I'm just tired watching him analyze.
Gartley here. Setting up X to A to B.
God, I'm sorry. He's on the 5 minute. I mean, my Lord in heaven, man. You just okay. 5 minute chart traders. This is what you do. You see this top? You break out. You pull back. You buy here. Forget this. What is he doing? Here's your triangle. You've got a button that buys on stops. You're long. And hopefully you've got, if you're on the 5-minute chart, you're a scalper. You're getting the hell out of that thing. Comes back. Maybe you got buy limits on a hotkey. But you realize your profits are like, I'm out. 10 minutes to sideways, you have buy stops, you're long. Maybe you can see here that, wow, we've already taken out the high of the day. Sellers are probably coming in here. Here's the last gasp. And you may have sell stops riding underneath this whole thing this whole time, and they're decaying every 15 minutes. You've either got you've hand placed orders in there, and they could be whatever size you can psychologically afford, and then you ride this puppy down and you ride it up. This 5-minute chart. Now this is consolidation on the 5-minute chart, right? And depending on what your tolerance, like if you have a 3-pip stop and you're looking to make 8 pips all day long, there's trades in here for you. But when you start to extrapolate these bizarro, that's what just blows my mind. How did we get down to how do we end up on this cipher crap? And why aren't we? Where's Wyckoff? Right? Wyckoff theory. Come on, people. Don't be ridiculous. Richard Wyckoff. Look him up. I'll put a Richard Wyckoff link in here. The guy that died a year before Gartley. So, and Gartley's coming out like, look at, yeah, because you know what? Wyckoff's dead. He's not going to sue you. And he doesn't do this crap. He's got a very elaborate, he tells the whole story of what's going on here, what this whole story is here. He tells you what's going on here. This double bottom here before the big run up. And he explains it. Better than Elliott Wave. Better than most. It's either that or you're a mechanical trader.
B to C, C D completion.
Holy God in heaven.
Okay.
Is anybody confused? Is there too much crap on this screen? And like, shouldn't he be spending his time with orders? And here, let's take a look at the RSI at this point. Have we missed any entries? And of course, he doesn't have the line chart here, so you can't see that this close here is higher than this close. Here's your entry to go long. You just have to babysit this puppy and buy at the market. That's your entry. Every time it's more oversold at a higher price, so you're looking for RSI to be more oversold and the price is higher than it was previously. This previous price keys to this. This is more oversold at a higher price. This is another reason to buy. More oversold at a higher price. Buy. This is a trend. Now, for him, he's not interested. This is sideways. This is why time frame shifting is such an obliteration of, like, 4 hours of chop means that there's 15-minute glorious and 5-minute glorious trends in there. Super low risk. Apparently he trades with very wide stops. So he's not interested. But why? He's on the 5-minute. As soon as you're on the 5-minute, you have to think like a 5-minute trader. You see what I'm saying? And this here is revisited. Now compare the RSI here to the RSI here. And he didn't stretch out his RSI enough, but guess what? More oversold at a higher price. This is a longer legged buy signal. You take the highest close within that, you project off of that. Just like you would here. And this is how it rolls. This is your signal. You project off of that. You should hit targets here. This from here to here, more oversold here. You extrapolate off the highest known. Your target should be hit here. This is here. This is there. Targets failed. Divergence. This what causes divergence is also targets failed. Divergence causes the buy signal. So the people that sell divergence are like, well, look, it's diverging. It's going to tank. Yes, it is going to tank. And when RSI comes down into this, So the counter trend people are trading that, but the like I said, you can't see it because you're not using line charts. Which, what's the point of RSI unless you got a line chart on here, on the top panel? You're kind of destroying the whole point of that. And I think he's using the 7-period RSI, the Stapleton conservative. Take the 14, cut it in half. But there's divergence here, right? You see that double top, but this is what sets you up for the buy. So when you see divergence, it's a detour, according to Andrew Cardwell, the basically intellectual heir of Wells Wilder, and Connie Brown, is it? Or her name is Constance Brown. Brown is the other person that has wrote a book on it. And Cardwell was going to write a book, but then there's big lawsuits and blah blah. But you know, that's the thing. That's the trick about RSI. That's one of the keys. And then you also have this thing where you can do the trendline analysis in RSI, where you find this, and this is if you do this Gartley stuff, do it on the RSI. And I don't know, this arbitrary, like, to me, if I was looking at why isn't the Gartley like this, A, B, C, right? I mean, there's a million Gartleys in here. Isn't there a Gartley within the Gartley? There's a fractal within the fractal. It's arbitrary that anybody picks any one of these. And look at this up here. You can start, and his charts are just full of all that Purdy stuff, which I don't know if it's making anybody any money. And maybe I'm just dumb as a box of rocks, but I'm totally confused. Like, what is the point in this? And you got the fib with the Gartley with the, all you're missing here is some cheesecake.
Depending on how much profit we can get out of this.
Another fib. For the love of Pete. And what is each number? Should I bet more on the deeper orders? Probably. We've got 3 fibs. We've got a couple ciphers, a couple, oh boy, triangles?
Yeah, so there's a little bit of profit in here. Okay, so a couple of trades setting up there. Time. So be mindful of that. Aussie dollar, we still haven't.
Okay, well, let's go to the chart that he was describing here, and his scenario for this was now, and I have a wax on, wax off for all you martial arts fans, Karate Kid fans out there. Wax on, wax off. Well, this is the MetaTrader chart set with just line chart white, and I have candles set for black down, white up. And the zone he was talking about here is that when he said, well, you know, the party's over, I'm not interested. If you take these dojis, right, take the body of that doji and look forward, that's going to be a big feeding zone. And it all the way out to here becomes the pivot. Now, if you turn off these candles, I would use the candles for my volatility, for my ATR of the body. I mean, I'm talking about an ATR of 1, not an ATR of 14 or whatever that's smoothed out. Forget the smoothing. The smoothing is just, you don't want to smooth out like your girlfriend too much. Not too much plastic surgery, babe, because you're going to start looking like a damn avatar, right? You can't do that. Like, nobody wants to, maybe they do want to have an avatar. Apparently that's where people are going with that stuff. How about just good old-fashioned support and resistance based on a line chart? Now, if you wax off, which I turned off the, look at this perfect, and this is the 60-minute euro to the yen, which he was describing. Double top becomes a bottom on close, and it's supposed to serve as support here. It does not. It totally fails. Now, if you had a sell limit here, and this is the what he calls the hindsight, which is this is back testing. I don't see the difference. He's telling me that, oh, you're in the hindsight. Well, just go back and look at my weekly updates from 2 months ago. Hello, a lot of pips, right? 1,000 pip winners. Okay, so this this is kind of the wick. These are zones, but We could also just put hard lines in there. But the hard line is going to be, see this doji here, that flat spot? That's a big deal. So that window. Now turn on the candle. So this is wax on, and you're going to see, if I put a sell limit here, did I get filled? And just keeping it down to, and this is back testing, which is hindsight. This is how you back test your system. Yes, I would have got filled. Had I put in sell limits up here, yes, sir, buddy, I got filled. Now, the candles, and if you're going to put them up there, and don't forget, this whole thing here, this is crazy, right? And this is very frustrating for anybody that is long this thing. They're like, what in the... Stop it with the up and... You know, this amazing 3 hours clean up, you dump. Now, when I feel like I'm killing in these markets is when I get the hell out here at this doji. Now, you could reload. If you really think it's a good trade, you would reload at the doji because you know on a smaller time frame there's a flag, a triangle, a cipher, a bat wing, maybe a couple gerbils inside of this body. Same thing here. But to be able to switch between structure leaves clues, people. This is the structure. This is the market. Here's the evidence of market makers with wicks. Here is the here's this just the structure, right? This is the frame of the building. Here's the wallpaper and the furniture. And it's going to come apparent that this is really the true structure of the market. Now, he's talked about, well, that thing's already been established, this breakout. And if you go back to his chart, if I switch back to his chart, what he was talking about was in this trade was he's not interested in what's going on right here. He was disinterested in this rangy stuff, and his idea was that when it comes back to when it breaks out and it comes back to here, he's going to look to get long. So he said, well, I'm going to get long if it comes back to the breakout point, because that's already been established. But there's actually this internal thing which is very important too, which he didn't know. He didn't really say anything about that. But look at this as your entry. Now, for a lot of people, they're happy to put their buy limit on this internal top and pick up that trade. Your pending's on here. Yes, it wicked in, but this is why you have multiple orders, and you also have orders that are like, okay, I got a buy limit here, and I have a buy limit here. Now, if you turn the wax on, you'll see that I didn't get filled in this one, but I got filled on that one, and your ratios pretty much double your money there, right? So he says, well, it breaks out, it pulls back, he's going to look to get long. Now, if you looked at it to get long on, and his technique for entry, he doesn't really describe too much here, but if you put buy stops here, there's no fill till here, and you're kind of making some money. Now, if you bought the retest into this, you cleaned up. If you bought the pullback, which is the classic entry, as it comes back to here, you get in. He got killed. If he comes to here, he got killed. Now, to be able to turn on a dime and go the other way, that's a whole other story. Another thing here is that instead of drawing these ciphers and all this garbage, what I learned from Andrew Cardwell is that when you draw trend lines, extend them into space, and I'm just going to go and scrunch this thing down now and just go to pure wait a second, I just lost my reference because he's way back here on the chart. I can't do that. I can't zoom in here. So he's getting into this thing back here, right? So if we go to, unfortunately, you can't zoom out and just capture that. How about a trend line? And Cardwell says, well, extend your trend lines out into the future. So if you look at this as your base point launching pad, you see how that becomes resistance later on when you break through that. And this is about as cipherish as you want to go. This is much cleaner, much easier, and less arbitrary because that's hard fixed. This is the 1 hour Euro yen. This happens all day long on all this stuff. And another thing you could do is take this and copy this line. And this could be your rate of change for this whole market. And you can just keep hanging it off these lows. And see how this fails here? This is it's a drifty channel. You hang it off of here. And you're looking to get in when it comes back up and in there. And if you do the wax on, you'll see that, oh, you know, almost made it. No harm, no foul. You didn't get filled there. But you can keep this. You pick the rate of change, right? You pick the how much you want to make per whatever. And then you have the down trend line. So you just connect the like here's a good place, right? Classic triple top breakout, find support, you're off to the races. Now you can take this line and copy it in the future, and this is as ridiculous as his ciphers, right? And but it's better. It's more better because look at this top become this double bottom, bam. Same thing here. This top, right? Breaks out, fails, falls back. Here it finally clears it. You hang it off of this one. You get a doji right there, and this is why the candles suck. For like, if you're gonna trade candles, there's a whole story in there. Real candle traders are like, well, this is a doji, just buy it. This is a doji, just sell it. And dojis have a meaning, but really the structure is this. So you drag this forward to this, and these are all the inflection points, the pivot points. Let's take this off one more top, and you're riding down this thing. But the thing, it takes you into the future. So as you're trickling down this, you could also build all your channels off of this. Just copy these lines out. So this is the new kids on the block stuff with the ciphers and Gartley. That's what I have a real issue with, is all that nonsense. And look how it comes back up into here. It's crazy. Now, the angle of that line is just basically how impatient are you? Like, if you're really impatient, you're going to draw your trend line steep like this and go, you know what, as soon as it breaks out, I'm getting in down here. And then when it comes back to here, you know your exit's going to be here, because that's the last known low, and you maybe have an exit here, but you have a plethora of stuff going on here. And you turn on the wicks, you're like, oh, it didn't fill on that one, but I filled on that one. That's why some of these lofty targets are ridiculous, right? So if you bought here and you got out here, so you bought the if you bought, say, even on a stop here, it's a 1 hour chart, right? And if it's a low volatility candle, which this hammer is, now this is why getting in on stops, limits, and at the market is a diversification of entry, which he doesn't talk about. Buy stops here, and then you get filled here. And if you're a true candle trader, you're buying this hammer, you're buying this hammer, and you know your exit is here. Another doji, just lock in a damn hedge. Lock in a hedge. If you're just a doji trader, and if you're a candle trader, dojis are a big deal. Look at these dojis. Here's your hanging man doji. Just lock in. Maybe you had a pending up here for the trap. It's a 1 hour chart. But stay on the 1 hour chart if you're a 1 hour trader. Yeah, retest entry. Obviously, but always want to start off with these. You want to flip back between this and this, because they're completely different worlds. This is a psychology of bullish, bearish, and there's wicks on there, and unless no mention of how to trade a wick here from this guy. I just lost my my chart. We were on the British pound, right? Hell, I don't know. No, Australian dollar, right? I just put these templates up here. Anyways, you see what I'm saying. I don't even know what currency. Oh no, euro to the yen, right? So it's all about this line chart being. Can you read this line chart? Can you draw peaks and valleys? See how hard these videos are to produce. Like, notice this subtle stuff here. Bottom becomes a top. You've already established a downtrend. Just get in. And, you know, the idea that you're going to put this cipher, and I'm going to get in here, and we're getting in, and we're going to trend continuation. I'm like, I don't got patience for that, man. I want to make money. Like, I want to make money tonight, right? Market's going to open tonight. I'm selling up in here. I don't know if it's going to go here or go there. That's why you've got multiple orders, multiple things, blah, blah, blah. This is sideways, right? He was supposed to tell us how to make money during this. Well, it's about buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell. It's a lot of work. That's one day of a lot of work. And yeah, sure, it goes flying up into here, and you can see all that stuff, but... And look at this smash down. Down. Is there a trend on this thing? Trend continuation. It's just utterly ridiculous. And the idea that it's not up for criticism, it's not up for debate. And so in this thing, he says to me on the his criticism says, well, he says, I don't give a damn what other traders are doing because it has no effect on my trading profits. Well, that's utterly ridiculous. I said, really? You may not care, but it only takes one trader somewhere in the world to stop you out of your profits. And this is, if you watch the Mark Douglas tape that's still out there, it's about a 6-hour seminar. And, you know, Mark Douglas, with a smile, says, it only takes one trader out there to blow you out of that trade. And when you study auction trading, you can see what other traders are thinking. You have to go past ciphers and all this idealized view of, like, nobody... I guess that's when you go to a plastic surgeon, they're like, you know what the coolest looking nose is? The sexiest nose. We could give you a nose that's like, this is a classic nose. And all these chicks go and get nose jobs. I remember that Jennifer, that girl from Dirty Dancing got her nose done. Man, what a cute Jew. She fucked up her nose. And it's like, why do people want to fuck up with their nose? This is the nose Jesus gave you, right? Or God gave you, I don't know. I mean, you're breathing through that nose. Unless you did so much cocaine, you have to have it really edited. But, I mean, come on, man. I mean, there's nobody happy with the things the way they are. It is what it is. And when you project these ciphers and bat wings and dishwashers on top of the market, I think you're just setting yourself up for... And then he also said that you need to... Successful traders backtest their stuff with a positive expectancy. I mean, he's like a parrot. He's a young trader that parrots the people that he spent money learning from. And I get it that he was a lost trader and that he found something that works. But I'm just saying, for the other people that don't want to join the Gartley train of torture. Because it's more than just about, you know, people are asking, and they've lost more, these guys have lost tons of money on these ciphers and stuff because the market just doesn't see your cipher. It doesn't know it exists. You're projecting. Look it up. It's a psychological term. Projecting. I mean, who hasn't been on who hasn't... kind of embellished something they see, and they see what they want to see. You know, if you're looking at a car that's ugly as hell, but it's got a lot of horsepower, you're looking at the horsepower. If you're a horsepower freak, right? So if your money, and that's horsepower kind of translates to making a lot of money, making a lot of pips. But, you know, it really depends how much money per pip you're risking. And do you want to put the effort into really being very meticulous in order placement and let go of the energy you spend on a fib tool, a thing, blah, 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 blah. It's bad enough that, well, the trend line. you got to keep it simple. You know, to me, that's my issue. And you know, my real name's not Simpleton, of course, right? But I thought it was hilarious because I just wanted to try to be the I try to rattle people's cages that think complexity worship is the way to go. Now, there's an article by Leonard Peikoff, and Ayn Rand brought up this complexity worship. Yeah, because it's like this, well, you know, we have to, let's just take a look at this, right? In other words, what is wrong with just clean concepts of it could go up, it could go down? There's a guy here who's another disciple of the Stapleton crew who says, you know, I took $200 and turned it $800, and then he blew up his account, and I guess he lost more than even he put in, and he said that, oh, well, you know, that was a $200 mistake. You know what his answer is to the cure for that? And the kid's younger, about the youngest disciple I've seen of this empowered trading. He says, well, the answer to that is put more money in the account. Because obviously he's trading too big for... But how is he able to? So I asked him, how are you able to go from 200 to 800? And he says, well, I just guessed. And I'm like, yeah. Well, I don't know. Maybe he had just wide stops and when the market finally turned against him. But how, if you've ever made $200 micro account and taken it up to $800, you got to ask yourself, just like the way people ask themselves after they blow up account, what did I do wrong? What did you do right? And just keep doing that. And maybe, and of course, psychologically, why didn't he take out 600 and keep the 200 and go, you know what? It's like it never I mean, I'm just going to act like I got $200. Now, this is the supposed humbleness that people are supposed to have, is that they have respect for a dollar like they have respect for $1,000. The idea that you're going to throw money at these markets and I got enough skin in the game and I can take a drawdown. I mean, that's what Stokes is telling people. Listen, you need you can't just trade with $100. Listen, if you can't turn $100 into $1,000, you're not going to be able to turn $10,000 into $1 million or $100,000. Like, learn how to trade. Learn how to take the punishment of market fluctuations, and the bigger you trade, each fluctuation is going to affect you psychologically, unless you just have so much money like these guys where they did, oh, I don't care. And when they go into these drawdowns and they got to live off their trading account, well, yeah, if you're going to quit your day job and you haven't figured out how much money you can make, well, you don't have to quit your day job. You can trade, you can scalp on the daily charts. You can place scalp orders. It doesn't mean scalping doesn't mean you have to sit with your finger on the trigger on a 1 minute chart. A lot of these entry windows are, you can just see, look back, and it's back testing. And this guy's accusing me of hindsight, but you need to look back on the chart and see where you didn't get in, how you screwed up the trade. I can see one right here. Like, this is a pro tip, right? Free suggestions here, practical tips and suggestions. Look at this support level here. What if you had a buy limit here for this ride and the trade's over? Is that not a good trade without regard to these? And why did he put the cipher in here and not off of this to this? And you have to ask yourself, and I did. When I saw that, I go, you know, I got books all day long. I got a Fibonacci book that costs like $50. It's only got like 28 pages in it. And I'm like, yeah, but how am I gonna force this pattern onto the market? And here's another example. I could go through all day long showing this guy how to trade RSI, right? Where is the more overbought at a high, more oversold, but price is higher on this chart? More oversold, price is higher. Projecting off of this, target should be here. Boom, done, end of story. In a downtrend, we are more overbought than here. Price is lower, sell. More oversold, at a higher price buy. The inversion's true the other way. Here is divergence, but the last signal, and why you don't want to keep thinking this is going to keep tanking, is that these reversals fail here. There's micro reversals there. It's like microaggression, and it fails there and it explodes up. Plus you could draw trend lines, and if you really are one of these cipher people, why wouldn't they work on, if you really want to go, put them on here, but put them on the RSI. It should work. Trend lines work on RSI, but trend line, the reason why candles suck is that, see how nice this is? This is the closing prices. This should be closing prices here, so you can trade apples to apples. If you're going to say, well, it's oversold here, but these are closing prices, people. Not based on, there's no high and low on RSI. It's a clean index. You can see the wedge forming here. You want to think about getting long just because you have a triangle here. So it's more dynamic. The triangle's going to form here. And you can see the constant pounding, where they just keep pounding and pounding. People are this is accumulation phase. Anything, accumulation, distribution, and Wyckoff definitely shows you that this is a markdown, this is a redistribution, then a markdown. He tells you, clean out what's going on here. So get this. I'm just saying, if you're losing money on ciphers and Gartleys, there's a reason for that. You're over projecting into the market.
Oh, look at that. 1 pip to target ones. Hopefully we can hit target ones on this and roll stops to break even. That'll
roll stops to break even. Well, that's where I just give up on this guy right here. That is the that is so stupid. Just get the fuck out. Get your money, get out. And these poor people that are like signing up for this garbage, and they're like, yeah, I did what you said, and I knew I should have got out. That's why the caller was right. The guy on the Stapleton video, and this is what this guy comes back. This Jason Greystone. Who is this guy? He's just another guy trading. We're all just trading, but he's gonna tell you, look at this. I could just go all day long on all the weirdness on this video and all the bias confirmations from patterns from, and what is the justification? And you can tell me you back tested this? How do you back test a Gartley pattern? Come on. Yeah, if you draw them back in space there, it's called hindsight, buddy. Get used to it. Of course. But I'm into foresight. I've already did a video, my weekly last video of what the trades are going to come in next week. And if you really want, I'll do blow by blow. I'll post my damn, if I can get that stupid FX book thing to pick up my damn, it's supposed to be running as an expert advisor in MT4. I cannot get this damn thing to, yeah, I make way more money than you. What, 80 pip loss on dollar yen? What kind of 80 pips? You couldn't find a tighter stop on the dollar yen? I almost gotta believe it was some kind of fib nonsense with a cipher batwing washing machine and a dryer with we just put too long of a hose on the damn on the output. It caught a fire. Should have bought an electric dryer, not a gas dryer. Boom, house is gone. But what are you gonna do, right? This is what makes horse races. And yes, other traders are affecting your trade. Big traders, small traders. The guy's living in a fantasy world. That's all there is to it. And of course, they need people like this. The guy's he signed up. He joined the. He's been assimilated into the empowered trading Borg, and that's all there is to it.